guys, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I want to jump on and do a quick talk on manifesting. And now, we have all these different ways and methods of manifesting, and some may relate and some don't. But these are methods that I use that I share. I already talked about manifesting a vehicle. And that's in a different video, so you can always check that out. If you don't know what I do, I do channeling, energy work, readings, writing the I Am discourse. Um, I help people with life reviews so they can transform their lives and coaching sessions. And if you're here for the first time, thank you for tuning in, checking it out. Check out the other videos. It does have a lot of information. Books are on Amazon if you're interested in doing that. And you can also book a coaching session or a reading. Just reach out to me. And from there, I kind of want to just jump into the manifesting process that I want to kind of add to other ways that I manifest. So sometimes we forget that in the manifesting process, we do want to speak it out loud into the world, right? Because it sends out vibrations and energy into the world. So that way it becomes more manifested, right? So if you think about it, if you are not really manifesting and you're just unconsciously living your life and you have been triggered by something, thoughts start occurring, right? From the thoughts, the more you think it, the more you become emotionally involved with that thought, right? And then you become possibly outraged, right? The feeling, the emotions grow, right? From there, if you get to a certain point where you lose control, you take action, right? So, what is the action, right? Something will happen. Either it's something that'll show up in your realm, your reality. If you're getting mad and you're having a conversation with somebody, you get upset, then an argument starts. You're both then responding. You're both arguing, and then who knows? It could get into a fist fight or whatever the case may be. But in general, if you look at that scenario, you can look at how manifesting is, right? It grows from something that's triggered you or a thought. And the more you repeat the thoughts, the more it becomes. The more it becomes, the more emotions arrive. The more the emotions arrive, it's an emotional outburst, right? So you can no longer contain it within yourself. It becomes so big that you do something. You're either throwing stuff around or you're hit somebody or you do whatever, whatever the case may be. It's an emotional outburst, right? From that point in your reality. And so what is your reality? Your reality is in here, not out there, right? And it's what we project onto the outer world that is a resonance to it, and then it comes to you, right, in the form of whatever is you're doing in your outburst, right? And so manifesting with this view, but not from this viewpoint, looking at the scenario to help you to understand manifesting is a great way to look at it, right? So if I can do that in a conscious way, projecting outward, having an emotional outburst, to bring it to me what it is that I really want, not an unconscious act or response to a situation, but manifesting consciously, intentionally with what we really want in the world is manifesting from that point of view, right? And so just change that scenario to a intentional, purpose driven process, because it works both ways, either on one way or the other, the unconscious or the intentional, right? And so a lot of people don't really look at it that way, from that point of view. But it's something I wanted to share because it's something that I've learned along the way, having counseling, things like that. And I'm able to have that perspective and understand through my channelings and the near-death experience where I was on the other side. It helps me to bring it all into play, as far as intentional manifesting. Right. And we want to include the emotional outburst, which a lot of people forget. And I want to kind of talk about that role in it, because it sends out vibrational energies, which everything is attraction like, right? And so from the attraction like we receive, right? And so if you work on intentionally every day the thoughts, right? I have a house. Not I am getting a house or I'm buying a house. I have a house. I have a car. I have a car. Say it to yourself every day within yourself, right? And as it goes along every day, you're going to start, if you're doing it intentionally, you're going to start feeling emotions. You might feel a sigh of relief, stress gone, right? Because if you're manifesting something, there's the things that emotionally we will hold on to. We may not even realize it. But when we are intentionally do this, we can start feeling. You want to get in tune with your emotions, your feelings, and what you're working on, because it's going to help guide you in that direction. Now, with some things that I'm working on, I feel these things, right? So, for instance, with what I'm working on, it was like emotions are finally starting to arrive. And even if we have to do it 28 days, it takes 28 days to change a behavior, right? So sometimes it does take a while if we haven't been working on intentionally manifesting, right? To do it every day, intentionally, all day, every time you get a moment to sit in that. I have a house, I have a car, I have money, I have this, I have that, right? Because you want to match up not where you are, but where you are when you have it, right? And so that's a timeline you want to be from, because it is a big difference when you have it in your mind than when you don't, right? And so when you're shifting from I don't or I am working on it, manifesting, to I have it, that's a whole different timeline, right? Existence, energy, emotion, that we're going to start, you know, working from and manifesting, like the clay, right? Molding the clay, right? And so it can take up to 28 days. Do it every day, all day long, every time you get a moment to tune in, tap in, and just sit with it and just say it to yourself. I have a house, I have a car, I have money, right? And it doesn't, don't be strict on where it comes from, right? Because you're limiting yourself from the universe to bring it. And just how you have it to yourself over and over again, right? And just feel and see what emotions arise from that, And if you're in a place from where I am working on this, I'm manifesting this, it's not where you are now in the moment where it is actually. It's where you're not, right? You're not there yet. And sometimes you will never get there if you're never there, if that makes sense. And so from manifesting, when you go from the I am manifesting this to I have this, you may actually feel like an energy shift, emotional jump timeline scenario happening within yourself. And it may be just like a big sigh and relief. And whenever you start feeling these things, just release, right? When you're doing energy healing, we work with the breath, right? This is where this comes into play. When you work with the breath, you're allowing things to come out, because whether you know it or not, when we have thoughts, when we're manifesting just every day, talking to people, not even trying to manifest anything, we're manifesting. And you ever wonder why maybe you're yawning or you're whatever you're doing in that case scenario, or you end up receiving um, more air or breath or energy than what you normally would, and maybe you gasp for whatever reason. This is incoming information, energy, because everything has an intelligence, right? And so a lot of times, I know I have this experience all the time, right? Because when we are manifesting, talking, when we say one, we're creating automatically the other option. So we always have a timeline that's being created on that level of awareness, right? And so no matter what you're saying, which is why it's important to be mindful in what we are talking about when we are trying to, work on something, and putting ourselves in a place that we don't want to be, when we're saying and speaking these things, and just be mindful about it, right? And from that point of view, like when you have that shift, just allow that energy to shift with you, right? Just be mindful of your emotions, observe the body, the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts that are rising, the energy that's shifting, and you'll be able to feel that shift from I don't have it, I am working on it, to I have it, right? It's a different energy vibration. And when the mind starts getting it 28 days, the mind starts, you're creating patterns, right? You're creating new patterns and waves and vibration and energy that helps with the manifesting process. And then as you keep doing it from the 28 days, you know, from there on, it's just already there, and automatically it's there the minute you want to intend it. It's just getting yourself on that timeline of having it, right? And this is that part of it, right? And so from there, after the 28 days, you know, just keep going. And as the emotions arise, just milk them, just feel into them. And when you build it up, build it up, build it up to that, you let the emotions rise, let the love rise, let the cry rise up, you know, let your emotions, and then start speaking it out loud. Get it to a point where you are so full of that love, energy, gratitude, peace of emotions that are rising within yourself, and then start speaking it out loud. And a lot of people don't know to speak it out loud, even if you're not speaking it to somebody. Just speak it out in the world, and then shout it if you need to, or if you feel like it. And of course, you don't want to do it in church, but I mean, you just be mindful, because, and then don't. I would recommend not doing it around people, because they'll be like, and that'll take you out of the manifestation, if they start questioning or whatever the case may be. But this is a great tool, is to do the emotional outbursts. And so you're not really putting constraints on, oh, he has to be 6'4" and he has to have blonde hair and blue eyes, and, he has to be a carpenter, or blah, 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 blah. My house has to have 6 inches of this here and 7 inches of that, just be there already and allow it to flow to you, because everything is perfectly divine and knowing, and what you're creating and what you're wanting. And so in that process, you're not limiting it, right? And so with it being everything's perfect and divinely created, the minute you say it's spoken, it's done, right? We don't have to worry about that anymore. It's from there on that we need to, right? And so we want to shift it from the I am working on it, I am creating it, blah, 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 which I want this, I want this. And we're living from that point of view. We want to shift to the I have it now, right? Which is the now in the present moment, not the before it, right? And so in the present moment, now I have it, even though it's not showing up in your reality, it's still there. It's just not seen, right? Because there is a lot of things that are not shown or seen in this realm, until it shows up, right? I mean, we have, if you know about mediumship, you know, we have spirits, and they're there. It's just we can't see them, right? If you want to look and use that as a frame of reference, right? So you can understand it from the point, if you're using these different ideas or realities to manifest and bring them in and hone the skill of doing that, it's going to help you in the manifesting. If you're looking at everything as a whole and not be limited to, this is the process, I'm going to stick to you got to look at other things that helps bring that into play for your understanding, because the mind is conceptual, right? And it can only under certain things from where it is based on that reality of where you are, right? And it's like like a dashboard, if you will, and all the different components. And if you're only looking at a certain part of it, you're only going to see it from that point, right? So you have to open your mind and perspective to different things, and how you can use these as tools to navigate your way through the world, in the things that you want to create. And so using the emotional outburst is very helpful. It's a resonance, right? And so from the emotions, um, speak it out in the world. I have this, not no longer in the mind. I'm going to say to myself, it's going to be emotionally outburst once you get the emotions up and running right, around that, and how good it feels, and how good it's going to feel, when you have your own space, or when you have this relationship, or you have this car. It's going to give you freedom, it's going to give you this, and it's just, and then allow yourself to mind to get on that train of thought, because your mind will start connecting the dots to other things, and just follow that trail of thoughts, right? So, for instance, whatever thoughts come to you, right? So be mindful of your thoughts, be mindful of your emotions and the emotional outburst. So these are things that come after, you're setting intention for what you're wanting. And so thoughts will just come and just roll off and just think them, right? As long as they're in alignment with what you're manifesting. Now, if you go off track, stop thinking it. It'll be like a chord, if you will. So if you're manifesting a house, I have a house, I have a house, and then you get the emotions rolling, right? And then you're connecting now to universe, right? In source, because you're rising up, you're feeling good, you're having gratitude, you're having love. It feels so good. You're connecting to those vibrations and energy and what you're wanting, which is going to lead you to where you're going to end up with the manifestation, right? So the thoughts that will may come in are, I have a house. It's going to allow me to be more free. It's going to allow me to have more room to move around. It's going to allow me to do things I want to do. It's going to have a garden. It's going to have this. It's going to, and we're not intentionally having the thoughts. We're just going to allow the thoughts to come. That's attached to what you already done, because it'll come. It'll, if you're aware of it and you meditate and you're observant of your own thoughts in your mind, and what's not yours, you'll be able to see and then just follow that trail, right? And so all these thoughts will come in and then gravitate to it, allow it, because in the mind and the meditation, if you've been meditating, you understand the control of the mind. The mind will grab you and take it with it, and then all of a sudden you're out of your meditation. Well, based on where we are in the level that we're at in meditation, is where we're at. And those are the things that will come in. And so if we're raising ourselves up to higher feeling good, gratitude, house related, things are going to come in from that perspective and then follow that. Right? And if something comes in, a negative thought, okay, cut it off. And then start again, maybe tomorrow, right? And then work on that, right? Because we may have thoughts that come in that aren't in line with it, because that's where we've been, in the manifesting process of what we're trying to work on, because we don't have it, right? And so it's just until everything becomes just flowing. And again, with the emotional outbursts, include that. Say it out loud. Get used to speaking things out loud, which can be very uncomfortable for people. You're speaking out loud and nobody's around. you know and that's something I had to get used to. It's very, to me, it's odd, but it helps because it sends out a vibrational energy, right? When you get to that point, when you start speaking it out loud, right? It's an energy vibration, part of the emotional outburst. We can incorporate it when we feel ready, in the process, right? For me right now, I'm in the emotional um, process, and I have love, I have release of stress that came out. I had a big release, big sigh. I just took a deep breath and just I just feel so much better. Now I'm in a different timeline on it, right? And you just keep manifesting like this every day, and then starting to speak it out loud, which is very uncomfortable, because really talking to yourself outwardly with nothing or nothing around, and you're intending it, um, who really does that? If you're in your rightful mind, then who speaks to themselves or talks to themselves or tells themselves? It's just getting comfortable with the outward speaking, outward spoken word that you're radiating and putting out into the universe, which helps to bring it forward more quickly than if you weren't to do it, because you're keeping it within, right? You have to expand it, right? And the more you expand it upon it, allows it to come to you more quickly than it would normally come to you. But you have those tools there to use in manifesting, and hopefully that helps. I want to kind of share that with you, because that's part of where I'm working on manifesting certain things in my life. If you wanted to check out the process that I did for manifesting a vehicle, the Bronco, check that out. That's on there. Now, I didn't do that in the same way. I think what I'm speaking here now is more towards those things that we may struggle with manifesting. certain things are very easily manifested, and the universe already knows, when you're needing these things because it's already being created, and so we already know we've put this things that we've put into our vortex prior to, because I've known when I got the vehicle that I was going to need a new car, so I've already put it in there, but I never really put my intention to it, and so it's always just kind of been in the vortex, which Abraham talks about. It's already been there. My order's been submitted, right? So when it came time for that, right, scenario to come, and my car was dying and I really needed it, I printed it out just to kind of give you a brief synopsis. I printed it out, put it on my um, did the research, this is the car I want. It was during COVID, or after COVID, and there was hardly any stock, with vehicles. They were having a hard time, per se, bringing it in. And so it manifested within about, I'm going to say, like a week or two before my car it really ended up dying, and then it wouldn't move anymore. I mean, that's how bad my car was that I had. And so the universe has already been setting it up for that point, right? And so everything had full unfolds as it's meant to be. And so, but when we are in a place where we're in resistance or not wanting it or dreading it or trying to, and we're like, oh, this isn't working, blah, 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 the mind is going, because that's the treadmill that we're on with that. But long story short, you can check the video out. You know, I basically, it was already in manifesting for years. I knew I needed a new car because this was just beyond. I don't even know how my car existed continually, because like I never did any maintenance, nothing. But I don't even know how it even was that long. The universe was helping me hold it out, I guess, because it could have fallen apart at any moment. And so when I really knew that I needed it, these emotions were arising. I started putting me into like a panic, like, oh my God, vehicles are not on the lots. I need a new car. What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. So those emotions were arising, right? So that trying to shift in there. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to release it to the universe. And it's going to be what it's going to be. And it is what it is, right? So I printed it out, set it on the counter, and I didn't look at it, right? This is what I want, universe. Here you go, right? I let the universe handle it, right? Next thing I know, about a week later, and I try not to drive as much as possible because I didn't want my car breaking down. Um, we just follow the impulses, right? And so I was told to wake up early one morning out of a sleep. And I was like, oh, I wanted to sleep in, but I was like, no, I have to get up because I'm being called to get up. So I got up, went down and checked out this one place. And then across the street was the dealer, and there it was, the Bronco, brand new, sitting on the lot, and somebody had ordered it. And prior to that, I had gone to another place and they didn't have it. And they were like, oh, it'll be about 6 months. Um, but here a week later, somebody in the next town had one on the lot because somebody had prior ordered it. And then when they were going to get the monthly payments, they weren't able to afford it. And so there it was. That was perfectly divine timing, right? So I got it. Anyway, that's manifesting, right? And so there's different scenarios in how you can manifest, because you set your order. It's like, what is that oven? I always, the ready make oven or whatever, set and forget it, right? These are things that we manifest prior to, right? We are always manifesting stuff, and it comes when it's needed, right? And so if you're setting intentions and you just let it go, the universe knows exactly when to put it in, like a puzzle, right? And when you need it, it's there, right? We come back to that situation. Oh, it's here. This time is now, right? And so, because nothing is instantaneous, we think it's instantaneous, but it's something that we've been manifesting, working on the whole time. And when it's ready, it's ready, right? In that intention, right? And so there's other ways. There's different ways in manifesting, different tools that we can use depending on the situation. But whenever we put something in what they call the vortex with Abraham Hicks, um, it's already there. It's already put in, your orders in there, and the universe is working on it. This is going to fit here. It's orchestrated, right? Divinely orchestrated by the universe, when and where it is that you are showing up that you need it, at that time in that moment. There's nothing else other than that which is going on, right? And it's us that keeps us from it, the limiting version and view. When we don't understand it, or we're not able to work with the universal laws of manifesting and creating, and from that point of view, using these tools to manifest and understanding how it is that it works and it plays out is going to be helpful. So the tools that I gave you about the emotional outburst, right? Looking at it from the perspective of, when we go from the negative thoughts and negative aspects, see how it plays out, because everybody knows that, right? We all know that when we have negative thoughts that build up, emotions, and then there's the emotional outburst, right? Whether it's crying, anger, hatred, meanness, fighting, arguing, hurting, and it just kind of keeps going, right? um, and if you look at it from that point of view, change it to positive, right, from the negative. And though there's no positive and negative, just look at it from that point, because that's how we understand it, the negative, right? So change it to positive intentional creation, right? Manifesting from the point. Once you set it, you don't have to do that I want this anymore. That's already done. The order is fulfilled. It's like hamburger place or joint, put your order in, let them cook it, and they'll serve it to you. That's how it works, right? And so this is how all my teachings have come, by scenarios, right? Scenarios to play, watching it, manifesting it. Okay, oh, this is how this works, right? And this is how spirit works with me when I do these channelings. It gives me examples, scenarios, so I can understand and relate to it, because here our mind comprehensive to what we know, where we are on that level, because we all have a different path and we all have different experiences to understand how it works out. And that's how spirit works with you, so you can understand it, right? And it's the passive perspective that allows that to come in. And when we can understand manifesting based on where we are in our examples, in our scenarios, we can apply it to that. This is how it works. But if you look at, the scenario I gave you about how we get into arguments and how it builds and it's uncontrolled, right? And we're just allowing that to unfold, and the universe brings it back to us what we're matched to at that moment. If we're angry, whatever is in our way is going to be angry back to us. Because if you are angry and you're walking down the street and you give somebody a bad stare, what is the response that you're going to get? Right? Just use these as examples, everyday life, in your manifestations, and use that towards your positive aspects, what you're intentionally creating, wanting to manifest in the moment now, which is just putting yourself in that framework, right? It's not that it's going to show up now, but it's you're putting yourself in that energy and vibration so it can show up now, right? And so that's from the point of I have it. I have it now. I have a house. I have a house. And tuning into the emotions on how that feels, let that arise. And again, it may take 28 days, right, to change the behavior, change the thoughts, the actions, the responses. And then once it does, release whatever it was before, because you're going to feel that shift, right? It's going to be like, you're going to start feeling, you're going to start knowing, you're going to start being in the space of love, which is source, consciousness, creation. And then it's also going to be feeling of gratitude that's coming up and arising. And from there, thoughts attached to that, it's going to come in, follow those thoughts of what you're manifesting, right? If it's something that comes in of the past, jump off, right? Intentionally jump off, be like, nope, that's not it. Start again tomorrow. Because you're changing, like she says, Abraham Hicks, you're changing the tracks, right? Sometimes one of the other thoughts will come in, or you don't know where that thought's going to take you. Maybe a fear arising, right? Where is this thought going to take me? That doesn't seem like it aligns with the manifestation, right? And if you feel like it's something that arises with fear, get off the track, right? Get out of the way, get yourself off and say, I'm coming back tomorrow and we'll finish this, right? So you can jump off the manifesting track at any time too, which a lot of people don't realize. You don't have to sit there and stay in the energy. The minute you watch your thoughts and you're on the stream of consciousness of positive thoughts towards the manifestation, it's going to feel so good. I'm going to have space. I'm going to have room. I have space, I have room, it's going to help me and I can afford it. I'm affording it, with the thoughts, if it's something that it doesn't fit into that, you can You can, don't cancel it. Just be like, I'm coming back tomorrow, and jump off and go about your day. Come back tomorrow and do it again, right? 28 days, manifesting reality, changing divine timing. So it is here now with you in the moment, not where you are or not, where we're trying to manifest from, but where we want to be when we want to manifest from. And so when you're allowing that to shift and change, you're going to feel like, um, it's like it's hard to put in words. You have to feel it, right? It's like you're, it's like this release. If you do energy work or healing or breath work, you're gonna feel, it's like a sigh, a relief. You know, it's, that's what it is. It's like you're gonna be like, oh, you know, and and that old stuff is gonna shift away, right? And so you're going to be in a place where you're manifesting from the here now moments versus where you were when you were like, okay, I don't have this, right? Because your mind is on that track, right? The old track is what they're saying is, I don't have it, and so it's not. And because it's not, I don't have it, right? And that's our awareness of what is present in our lives. But if we take that away, can't, you know, mark that out, take that out of the picture, right? Then we can't see it, and so we don't know it. And so the observation is, I am where I am now in the moment by having it, which is a big change and shift in consciousness awareness to where you are in the moment from that point of view. And so the chain reaction that we have from there to here is a shift in consciousness, which is allowing of energy and motion to shift and manifest into something else. And when we're sighing, we're allowing ourselves to come into full alignment with it and the power of the manifestation of what we are creating, right? And allow that to come in as a bug, to the fulfillment. And though, even though as we're still working on it, if you're not seeing it, it's okay. The mind is now knowing it without seeing it, right? Because the mind is setting that up, that preference, that perspective that it's living in, right? You're making these neurons and you're creating these scenarios within your mindscapes, right? Which is the scenario of manifesting. We don't necessarily have to see it in order to believe it, right? If you have faith, then you have, then you have it, right? It's just allowing yourself to have faith that it's there, right? Which is one of the first steps that a lot of us leave out in the manifesting process, is having the faith that we know that it's there, that we've put the order in and then it's been taken by source, and trust that source is going to fulfill that wish, because that's how the universe works, right? It's all for us in our highest divine creation of what we're wanting, on the manifesting of it. And even in our reality, even if it isn't what we want, it is still what we want, because it's not highest where you are, that you're at in that moment, that you can be from that chain of reality, if that makes sense. So for instance, if you're manifesting a car, and where you're at and you're not doing the work, and you end up getting, and you don't have a car, you end up getting an old used car, that is the next step, right, to the new car. Because what happens then is you have that car, you're working on payments, you're getting a better rate, you're getting this, you're getting that, as you're doing it, making the payments on time, if you're doing that. And then you're getting to the next place. Okay, this is what I want, this is what I don't like, this is what I want. And you're manifesting, you're putting all these things in the bucket of my order, you're adding to it, right? Which changes the timeline, right? And so a lot of times, another thing that we don't realize is, every time we change it, we're changing the order. So when you, that's why a lot of times too, manifestings take longer than others. There's always a timeline. Nothing is ever instantly manifested. It takes 9 months to make a baby. But even at that point, before then, you have to find somebody to have the baby with. You know, and so that takes point. And where you are is the person that you're going to be a match to have the baby. And then from there, when you do have the baby, it could be like 5 years later, because you're getting married and blah blah blah. It's a whole timeline that you're living things out, right? And they're manifesting as they're going, right? But when you change the timeline, if you're, okay, I have this older car, but I don't like this about it, and I don't like this about it, and I don't like this about it, and I want this color car, and blah blah blah, you're changing your order. And then the universe has to regroup again, right? This is how it works, manifesting. So in that process, we have to get on that timeline. Again, right? We have to keep working with the process. It's like an ongoing give and take, manifesting, molding, unfolding scenario that we're doing when we're manifesting. And so when you get to that, okay, then the new car, what you're wanting, because if you switch from, yeah, no, I want red, no, I want blue, no, I want, you're putting new orders into the universe, right? And so it takes that time, right? Manifesting, there is time. We're in a place where there's lag. Unfortunately, it's not manifesting automatically, instantaneously, like it is on the other side, right? When I had the near death experience, everything was instantaneous. Things would just appear, right? A couch appeared, and watch that video, my near death experience. Things would just appear, manifest out of anywhere, out of nowhere, right? It was everything, and you knew everything of all things. It was just, it's all there, accessible. It's here that there's a lag because we have time. It's the slowing down of time, which is the relaying of information, so we can do it on a perspective level, right? Manifesting, what do I want? Taking time to think about it, manifesting, meditation, and creation, right? We are creators in this realm. And so we're manifesting on the timeline that we're at in that moment, whenever we're changing our mind or not changing it. And so that's why also it can slow things down for us in manifesting if we're really unsure of what we want. So I always say, and what they told me is, and how I go about it is, like, if it's not a yes or a no, give it to the universe, right? Don't be like indecisive. It's either yes or no, and if it's not, then it's not ready, you don't know. Give it to the universe. Say, okay, I don't know. Let the universe bring it to you, right? And that's allowing manifesting to take its part and role in your life, so you can show you the different scenarios and avenues that you can take to get to that point. Is this good or is this good? You don't have to take everything and all things that the universe brings you. You can say no, and don't feel like you can't, right? Because you're in union with the universe. It's a give and take, it's a play, it's a relationship with the universe and manifesting. A lot of people don't look at it like that either, right? It's like, okay, this is my order, and the universe will bring you, okay, well, this is where you are, this is what's going on, and this is here, and this is what you can afford, and blah, blah, blah. Here's your idea. Look at it. No, I don't want that. No, okay, I'm putting my order back in. Right? It's like going to a restaurant, you say you want well done, and they bring it raw or rare. No, you put it back and tell them, I said I want it well done, not rare, right? Which I wouldn't personally do, and I don't eat meat, but I'm just using an example. I wouldn't send anything back to the kitchen because who knows what they'll do. But anyway, it's just an example, but that's using it for an example to show you, like, how it is to play in the universe and allowing that to manifest for you, to bring it in for you to this present moment, right? And so we can take these certain steps in manifesting, looking at these and applying them to the process. We can understand that's how it works, and so we can do it, right? And manifest so much more easily and quickly. And so when we are changing our mind, that changes the dynamics of what we want and may delay the process, right? So whenever we're doing that, just allow that to, you know, play out as it's meant to be. And so it's just changing the tracks, per se, of the trajectory that you're on, allowing that to, manifest and become open to it and let it show you and guide you, right? And so a lot of times, like in the, you know, things that, like when I was talking about manifesting, the Bronco, I was woken up and told to go down to this dealer, and they gave me this image of my brother going to Enterprise to buy one of their cars, their rental cars, right? And so I was like, okay, I'll go down and check it out. And maybe they have something on the lot, maybe blah, 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 to get me through to, the next step where I wanted to get a new car, right? Because I don't like getting somebody else's junk. You don't know what they do to it. That's why I like new, and new feels good to me. New feels fresh, doesn't have used energy, doesn't have somebody smoking. I got in that vehicle at the Enterprise, I tell you, and it reeked of smoke. Like, it was so nasty. Things were falling off. I'm like, this isn't it. So I got, and I was like, I'm out of here. These cars are not worth it. I was like, But it got me up to go down there because the Bronco was sitting across the street, right? And if I hadn't, and then I got the idea came in, look across the street because there was a dealer. And I was like, and I seen the Bronco sitting there. I'm like, And I did the Yui and I went over there. And if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't listened to the get up, go down to the enterprise, it wouldn't have led me. Those are the breadcrumbs, right? And so we've wanted to follow what the universe shows us, right? And what it's giving us, right? The ideas, manifesting a business, it'll bring ideas in, and you when you get the idea, you don't have to fully reject it, but this I like, this I don't like, this I like, this I don't, right? And work with it. You don't have to do it because the universe brings it to you. This is what it is. You have to do this. You can say yes or no, even after the manifesting arrives, right? Um, just like I did as far as, the enterprise place, nothing bad towards enterprise, but your, your for sale rental cars aren't that great. Anyway, um, it's the process, right? And following the breadcrumbs and understand that you can say no to what the universe brings to you and let the universe rework that out, right? It's an intelligence and it works with you, not against you. It's when we are against ourselves that we don't understand how it works, that it works against ourselves, right? And so even though you're on the path and you're receiving something to get you to somewhere else, like you're manifesting a business, maybe you're shown this business idea and you're like, oh, okay, I like this and this and this, but you don't like the other aspects of it. Doesn't mean not fully do it. It just means maybe start with this and then put the order in for the other aspects of it and work on that as it comes and be like, okay, yes, I can add this. No, I don't want that. It's like clay, molding it, playing with it, figure out what works, what doesn't. You don't have to like totally excuse the whole idea, right? Because you may not resonate with it, right? And it's like, for me, being a death doula, life death doula, right? Coaching, life review coaching, manifesting, helping with clearing. What I don't like is when that idea is like, if I have to go into a person's home and they have animals or if they smoke, which doesn't resonate with me at all. You know what I mean? So I don't work with those clients. You can manipulate, but it doesn't mean you have to like totally say no to everything, but you can, and then add other things to it. That's where you put things into place, for your business. You mold it, you weave it, you create as you want. These are just ideas that are flowing. And then the other thing is, you can totally reject and say, no, I want to revamp, and the universe isn't going to hate you for it, and source isn't going to hate you for it. I mean, there's that idea and perception that they're showing or telling me that, if they reject it, they're not going to get any other ideas, things like that. And that's not true, right? It's the molding of the clay, the realization of it, allowing and being in perspective again, receiving it, and then be like, no, universe, can you mold this and redo this, right? This is not something that I'm feeling in bliss with. It's not something that's resonating with me, but is only where it is that you are, that you can be from that point, you see. And so they put that in there. So in that reality, in creation, just looking where you are with that. There's no rules in manifestation. And, just allow yourself to be, trying to think of the word that they're bringing in. Just try to be relaxed with it, non-attached, unemotional realization. Just be in the flow and allowing that to unfold for you, right? And so when we're manifesting, it's not like we're never going to get another idea um, after that, which many people might be fearful of. But it's just the process of manifesting, understanding, and allow it to unfold for you, right? And so, sometimes people are fearful of it and they don't understand it. And then the other thing that I want to add to, or add to that, not you, but add to that awareness is when it is unfolding and we're having the emotional awareness outbursts arising and we're trying to work on it, creating. If you don't know anything about manifesting, you may be like, oh my God, what is going on with me? I'm so emotional, and then I'm not emotional, and then this is this, and then what is going on? I'm up and down all over the place. I was like, just going crazy. Well, things are manifesting, things are working. That's how it works, right? And if you understand um, manifesting, it all plays a part and role in it, because when things are being manifesting, even in our experience, right? there are so many things that are collectively happening together that we may not be aware of it because we can't see it or know it or don't understand it from that point. When we can, it all makes sense too. And it's like sometimes things will just happen and arise for you. Spirit does help you out with that, just to let you know. And so sometimes when things are arising, you may not be aware of it, that it's your soul helping you to manifest it and taking charge of the situation, so that way you will have the manifestation if you're not aware of it. And so a lot of people can think that it's convoluted or a misunderstanding it for something else, like your emotions are out of control, things like that. But that's part of manifestation. So I hope all that helps. I know I kind of sometimes ramble on. And then, of course, my spirit guides and angels and consciousness kind of just comes in and kind of shares and add to the information that we're sharing, to kind of expand upon it, to help with the understanding of what I'm talking about. Because it's kind of hard to put into words, the process. So we use different examples and scenarios and kind of makes for a long video. But if you've been able to stay in tune and align with it and understand it, it can be very helpful for you, so that way you can manifest from that point of view. But when we are putting our order in, again, just know that it's done, have faith, and then move into the next place every day. Start with your intentional thoughts, let the emotions arise, have your emotional outbursts, speak it into the world, and allow that to resonate and come back to you, right? For you to realize that it is there, and so in that being there, it is present in your moments, right, in your reality. And then it's just finding it by the breadcrumbs that you're being led to allow that to come in, like when I was woken up in the morning, right? But definitely check out those other videos. I do have other tips out there, and how you manifest and wherever you're jumping in on the manifestation is going to be different for everyone. Again, there's a lag, just to recap. And, it's just figuring out, the methods, the allowance, and how it works for you, because everybody's on a different path, and you're going to be able to meditate or manifest from a different perspective wherever you are. It may work, it may not work for you, but this is what works for me. Kind of want to just share that process for you and how my guides or angels are helping me with manifestation, working on that every day and bringing that into full fruition, right? Because that's part of why we're here, is being creators, learning to manifest, learning to work with different things, energies, vibrations. For me, this is a school, stepping out of the human school, after my near-death experience, awakening and all that, working on now more of the spiritual school aspect, right? So it's kind of like going to a different grade. Once you become aware of all this stuff, you've kind of leveled up out of the human consciousness reality, right? And a lot of people are awakening up, and they think it's like, oh, I'm going to go to heaven, or I'm going to go here, and blah blah blah. You're shifting consciously, you're waking up into a new awareness, right? And being from that place, which is starting to learn more of the spiritual school than the human school. Your consciousness shifted, right? And so that's a whole different video, so I don't want to get into that one because it's just going to make this one longer. But kind of want to just put that out there. And manifesting, we're working with the world, the universe, the vibration, the energy, and bringing that into your awareness, right? And so this is part of the journey, right, is working with manifesting. So hopefully it helps. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to work with me one-to-one, work on certain things, manifesting, again, I do life review. If you want to transform your life, or if you're passing over, and you want to do some cleaning up of your of your life before passing over, because regardless of where you are in this lifetime, next lifetime, or in your deathbed, we're going to do a life review, right? And so it's always a great time to do it now instead of waiting, right? So why not do it now, right? And so if not now, when, right? When are we going to do it, right? And you might as well just put in effort to do it now. A lot of people fear manifestation, and there's a lot of people out there sharing and showing that, or providing information that their process is the only one that really works, because it's process of I am, right? Now I work with I am, my channel I am, and there is not just one way in manifesting. There's many different ways, because where you are is not where another person is. And if one doesn't work for you, this one does, and it's on the way to the manifestation that you're needing. And so if you're needing based on where you are, not everybody's process is going to work, right, in manifesting. And so I want to kind of share that with you, that those people who say that their way is the only way and everybody else is false, and speaking that in the same sentence or paragraph along with I am, because I am is the creator of the universe and only I am knows, right? And it makes it for everybody. There's always more than one path, right? In all things, right? So there's based off, you're based off where you are. It's meeting you where you are, the universe, and to help you to manifest from that perspective understanding, because you can't run until you crawl, right? You can't even do this because until you've done that, right? And so if you're not there yet, what is for you is going to come for you to help you on that level of manifestation. So try not to fall for those people who are in spiritual ego, um, of their, this is the only way, this is the only thing that works, right? Where you are is where you need to be. So don't negate that, right? Honor that and be okay. This is where I am. This is what I'm learning about manifestation. This is the stage I'm in because this is where I'm at. It's kind of look at it like a grade, right? This is the grade level I'm in. If I'm in just awakening and learning grade school, you're not going to go to college manifestation classes, right? It's not going to happen because you have to understand the concepts of it, right? And so it's not going to work for you, right? They may be making a program that's going to be helpful to you at a later point and stage when you get there, but it's the path that you take, that you're on, that everybody's on, that's different based on where you are, because your past experiences are different, right? And the universe works with you to help you to know and navigate it, right? And so although it can be helpful to take their information in, so when you are ready and you are there, then you can utilize those tools. And that's just like with what I'm sharing here. My way is not the only way and the only path. This is what I work with, what my guides show me and help me with based off where I am. And I don't sit there and say, you have to do it this way. No, it doesn't work that way. Again, if you don't have the concepts and the understanding and the awareness, no matter what somebody teaches you, it's just going to be like, whoop, you know it's based off where you are, and the universe knows that. The universe is consciousness, right? And it's going to work with you where you are, and it's just having that understanding and awareness. So take that as what it is, the grain of salt that it is for you, and allow that to sink in. When somebody's saying this is the only path, this is the only way, I'm working with I am, and this is what I got from I am, and nothing else works and everybody else is a joke, I would kind of take that as a red flag. you know and although their intent is to help you, it goes against the grain of the universe, because there's many ways, many thoughts, many processes, and so it's just based off where you are. And that's why a lot of people have different processes, right? It's what you resonate with and what you're guided to go to. Just follow the universe and guidance from source, I am, and just allow that to be for you and honor that where you are, and just love that and just be who you truly are. And you know when you get to the other point, and if something else resonates with you, um, you take it in as part of, okay, I can add this as a tool or this as whatever. I'm not saying not go with it. I'm just saying just be where you are, and that's what they want you to know. And just to be where you are in that present moment of where you are and manifesting and learning about it and working with it and trying it out and try this and try that. There's no right or wrong way, right? And that is from my understanding of being on a near death experience and all the channelings I do. There's no right or wrong. That's why many religions, that's why there's many ways of doing things. Everybody's on a different path and everything's different. There is no one way, right way that is in all things. We're all manifesting. It's just from different perspectives and awareness, right? And is where you are. You can't be anywhere else than where you are in that moment, right? And to understand it and have the perspective. And so that's why I say, these are tools that you can use, but I'm not saying this is the only way, right? In manifesting, because I channel I am too as well, and I've been on the other side, and so I know that there isn't just one way. And so I kind of want to just put that out there when you hear people speak about that, you know, and it may work for you, right? And it may not, but just be open-minded, right, with that, and don't kind of be like, this is it. And that's what happens with religions. This is the only way. And look what religion does, you know, being against another, making fun of other people, putting other people down, it separates. right? Instead of just being and allowing and being like, these are tools, here you go. If this works for you, then it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Maybe there's another avenue for you based on where you are. It's just taking a look at these different things, right? And don't be like, that's narrow minded, that's egotistical, and based on your perspective that you're better than any and all things. You're the only one connected to source and manifestation processes, right? What you're receiving at the time is the right thing, right? I didn't come into Abraham Hicks until I was ready for it, right? And I learned and I utilized some of those tools, but it's not the only thing I work with. I work with different things, right? And the universe and source and my guides bring that information to me, and I follow those. I don't follow everything about all things, and so, but I manifest, right? And just saying, that's how it works for me. You don't have to have a direct one way is only way process, right? So just wanted to put that out there and share that. um, Hopefully that makes sense. So where you are is perfectly divine. Keep creating. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you have a great journey. If you wanted to do one-on-one um, sessions and kind of work more on that and understanding, and how I work with manifestation, or want to do a life review, I do readings, and we can also do body mapping. That's something a lot of people aren't aware of, which can help change the perspective of where we are and heal and transform and get energy moving and shifting, because we do a body scan and we allow you to kind of maneuver through that, why that's there. We go to the root cause and remove it. So hopefully it helps with the manifesting information that I have to share today, and what I've been guided to from my guides and angels, masters, teachers, loved ones, and everybody who's working with me today, to really go off and name everybody. I don't want to do that because it's not always just one. But anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in, and reach out if you need any or have any questions. You can also drop them below. Happy journeys and happy manifesting.